Hello and welcome to this edition of You Can Get There From Here. I'm Dr. Joe Moore, Chair of the Department of Communication and Digital Media Production at the University of Central Missouri, and it's my pleasure every week to get to sit down with some of our alumni. I visit to those who graduated in Communication Studies, some who got their bachelor's degree in Digital Media Production, and others who received their master's degree. Today, we have a local boy makes good type of story for you here on the show. Say hello to Cal Taylor. Cal, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Local boy makes good. I mean, that's better than the alternative. So I'll take that.
Exactly,
I'll take
exactly.
that.
I kind of gave that away. Local boy makes good. But first of all, let's start with a little backstory. Tell us where you're from. Tell us what you're involved in, what your interests are, and then what led you into the communication studies field.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, and thank you for having me. This is super cool. And you kind of mentioned local boy. So I'm from Warrensburg. My parents came to school here. They spent a couple of years, figuring out where they wanted to live, and they ended up staying here. So my mom worked as like a part-time professor for a while, and then also helped out with Big Brothers Big Sisters for about 20 years. And then my dad has been one of the managers at Walmart for 23 years, something like that. So, and I've been in Warrensburg my whole life. And I mentioned that mom was kind of a professor. So how I got to UCM, I mean, I tell this to, and we'll get into this, Dr. Moore, but I tell this to Nikki, so my now fiance, she helps coach the cheerleading team. And so we're around all the players and everything, and I tell her I'm like I get nervous. Like these guys are kind of my chiefs. Like this is like we had the clothes, the calendars. I've always been a huge Mules fan, so I always wanted to go to UCM. Mom being a professor meant there was a little bit more incentive to go to UCM. And then my junior year of high school, she decided to make a change and got elected at the county level, which is great, but then that incentive was kind of gone. But I'd always wanted to be a mule anyway. And felt like it was a good place for me. So played sports in school, enjoyed sports. My mom was super active in the community, so did a lot of those kind of things with her. But I didn't. I mean, I was good enough at sports to have a good time in high school, but I wouldn't have been able to do anything in college. Yeah, I just actually went in as open options to UCM, which I loved my open options courses. My professors were super welcoming. Um, I got to kind of dip my toes in everything, and see what was a good fit for me. We had a lot of good speakers that would tell us about what they do. And I actually went into education very first. Education was what I was going to do, and I think it was one of those things. I enjoyed school growing up, so why not try my hand at it? And then I guess lucky enough, I got to do some substitute teaching early because it was COVID. It was 2021, and they were needing substitute teachers really bad. So started substitute teaching and realized it is so difficult. And I have, give so much praise to our teachers because they deal with a lot more than just teaching a subject. And realized that it probably wasn't for me. And then that's when I got into communications. So that's how I got there.
Well, and you mentioned, you always love the Mules. Your mom worked here, and for those who are watching that know Warrensburg, Cal's mom, Stormy Taylor. She's a name synonymous with Warrensburg. A lot of students come out of Warrensburg High School and they think, oh, I don't want to go to UCM. It's right there, hometown. I want to get away from home. My kids, I have three kids, they all kind of said that same sort of thing until they came to visit the campus, truly visit the campus, not as dad's office, but as a potential university, and they fell in love with the place. What was it about UCM, though, for you that, you said you love the Mules? Well,
Yeah.
what is it about the campus?
Yeah.
What is it about this university that you said, yeah, I'm happy to go right there, beside
No.
beside mom being a faculty member?
Yeah. And that's a great question. So I had that same feeling there for a little bit. And I know my little sister, who is also at UCM now, had that same feeling. Everybody says the same thing at Warrensburg High School. I don't want to go to Warrensburg. I want to go get the college experience. I can't get the college experience in Warrensburg. And I did. I was worried about that. I mean, but we did a tour of, even though I'd been to UCM, I'd been on campus, I did a tour. And our tour person was super, like, even, and I've felt this way about everybody because there's students that do a lot of the tours and they're passionate about what they do. And I learned, a few things on that, but I wouldn't say it was the tour that did it for me. It was actually like, it's the little things that UCM does that I really enjoy. Like, um, I have always helped out with our Bergfest, the event that we have in Warrensburg, and the wrestlers and the football players would come down and move the big heavy stage and help set up the chairs and like there was just kind of a connection with the community that I really liked. I'm now involved with our Warrensburg Main Street organization, and we still look to them and rely on them for that kind of thing. And so UCM's willingness to be a part of the community has always been a big selling point for me. I've always enjoyed that. I mean, the ever since I was a kid, the UCM parade gets everybody. There's people you don't see all year, and you see them at the UCM parade for homecoming, and so that was always. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. I really like that environment. I kind of like it's ended up helping me with my career, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But like it doesn't matter if, you may see the same parents because you go to the same high school games and everybody goes to high school games when they have a kid playing or on the cheerleading team. But, like every business is going to the UCM football game because they might sponsor. Every business is going to the basketball games. You see everybody there. And so I just loved being a part of that. I always wanted to be a part of it. And then I actually, shortly after deciding to go to UCM, figured out completely that I was so wrong about the college experience. I mean, I did move out. I didn't live at home. Moved in with some people that I went to high school with, but all of our majors were different. And I think, what we look at it from our high school view, like you go to school. I don't know. I didn't have study groups in high school. There was nothing. They didn't require that. You don't really have to look at your syllabus. Projects aren't the same. But there's so much out of classroom opportunities that come with going to UCM that I built all these relationships with folks that are not from Warrensburg. I still talk to my friends from Warrensburg, but I never thought that I would have built a network outside of Warrensburg like I did. So being a townie and people saying that it would still feel like high school, I never had that experience. So that was really nice.
Yeah, so much of the college experience is what you make of it. And you mentioned
Right.
some of my favorite things, nobody does a UCM or does a homecoming like UCM does and get the red out and Bergfest and all those things. My heart swells just a little bit whenever I am a part of any of those because I take
Yeah.
such pride in it. So I'm glad to hear that you feel that same way. We're so glad that you did choose to stay here in Warrensburg and become a mule and be a part of the experience here. Talk a little bit about some of the things that you were involved in. You mentioned you were
Yeah.
into sports when you were in high school. What all did you do while you were in college to help prepare you for where you are today?
Yeah, so it's actually why I chose communication. And we'll talk about this, I'm sure, but so I'm in commercial insurance. That's kind of what I do now, and it was because my mentor basically also grew up in Warrensburg, lived in Warrensburg forever, and I knew that I'd seen him support. He's a big supporter of all UCM sports, but especially UCM golf. So I've always seen him, sponsor those activities and want to be really involved. So I asked him, I was like, I did education. Now, what do you kind of think I should do? If this is the field I want to go into, what do you think I should do? And he was like, well, all I do every day is build and maintain relationships and try to be genuine with people and understand their needs. And he said, I can't think of anything better than taking communications. So that's how I got into it. But then he said, you also need to be involved. That's how you're going to network. That's how you're going to meet people. So, I initially thought about, well, a fraternity. And then I didn't have any. I could have definitely done that. I know I have a lot of friends that ended up doing that. But what I wanted to do was also something that was something that I was passionate about at the time. So my minor is in Spanish. So I joined the Spanish club, which that was I would say that was out of my comfort zone. I didn't. I've been in no like academic clubs before. So that was really cool. And I met none of those people were from Warrensburg. So that was all new people, and it was fun because we were all. I mean, it was different when I was speaking Spanish in high school in front of people that I've known for 10 years. Because I'm not worried about getting it wrong. Like, who cares? But these people, I want them. I'm trying to make the best impression, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that was nerve-wracking. So really enjoyed that. I wanted to keep playing sports, so I got involved in just about every intramural sport you could play. Um, we did disc golf, and I realized that like what I thought was being good at disc golf is not good at disc golf.
Have you got out to the new course yet?
I have gone out to the new course. Yeah, it's awesome.
Nice,
It's
isn't it?
awesome. Yeah, it's very nice. And but yeah, I played that first tournament, and I was like, I've been playing Mar Park for years. These guys don't know what's coming. And really, yeah, yeah, I was rudely awakened. Yeah, holy cow. But so made a lot of friends doing that. It kind of scratched that itch for me. That I didn't have. I've loved the opportunities. I mean, it seems like everybody that's involved in the intramurals, it seems like they're always trying to make it better. They're trying to add things. So that was a part of college that I didn't even think about going into it that I really leaned on. UCM also gave me the capabilities to kind of just being a UCM a student. You're able to do things like you can be a student ambassador with the chamber. You can go do some more things with the Chamber of Commerce. Um, People are just more, I don't know, they're just when you're a student at UCM and you want to get involved, people are welcome. They welcome you with open arms because a lot of those people went to UCM. So I got involved with the chamber starting in college. I got involved with Warrensburg Main Street volunteering because I learned about, so they do like a little, during Welcome Week, Warrensburg Main Street sends out some stuff to the college about coming downtown and things. So that's how I learned more about how I could volunteer and give back. So that all started freshman and sophomore year of college, doing things with the chamber in Warrensburg. And it was because they have a relationship with UCM and we're able to get the info out. And so that's how I knew that it was going to help my career, but also help me network with people at UCM and then use UCM as a way to network with people outside of it. So
So that sounds like for Cal Taylor, the college experience was all about getting connected, not just on campus, but within the community and recognizing that that community is part of the campus. And that
Mhm.
experience is going to benefit you down the road, which leads us to where you are today. Tell us what you are doing, who you're working with, and what all you do in your job.
Yeah. So, and I guess another thing that, this kind of answers or an answer to your other question too, but I was encouraged to do an internship because of the particular path that I took in communications. And so I took one here at AssuredPartners, which was in Warrensburg Insurance and Benefits Group for years. And then it got changed to AssuredPartners in 2015. But I took an intern as a sales executive, and I mentioned I'm in communications. I don't have a sales oh, I do have a marketing. I think I do have a marketing minor actually, but
They all run
so
together after a while.
yeah, they do, right? And so I took that internship as a sales executive, and but I wasn't sitting in the office and cold calling, which I really like about Warrensburg is because if I'm trying to like building a business in Warrensburg, you ask anybody, it's our community. Maybe some people can work off cold calls. I can cold call you all day, but there are so many opportunities. There's so many events in Warrensburg and fundraisers, so many auctions, and there's so many opportunities to meet people and care and learn their needs, and then if you have a way to help them, help them. And so now so I learned that in that internship, realized that's what I want to do because kind of like I liked my open options class. I got to learn about every single major. Well, now doing insurance, I learn about every single business. I get to meet every single person, and I get to help them. And so I think the reason I like that class so much is the same reason I like insurance is because every day is different, and I've got more knowledge in different industries than I ever have. So basically, what I do is I do some personal insurance too. Not my mom. I've seen her drive. I don't even want to mess with her insurance. Yeah, she don't even go
Wow.
through me. Yeah, I'm not taking on that liability. I know that. Yeah.
I'm wondering what the outcome's going to be when Stormy sees this.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. But no. But so I help people and I help businesses and organizations here in Warrensburg. with all of their insurance needs, basically. So, I help on like the protecting the building that we're sitting in, but I also help with the health insurance side of things and making sure that their problems are solved on that side. So it's definitely a business development role. Like my job is being in the community and reaching out to people and letting them know that we're here and that if they need something that we can have that conversation. And so I mean, most of the people that I work with are mules, and I have met them not because I called them on the phone and said, "Hey, I can reduce your insurance price." It's because I went up to them at a UCM basketball game at halftime while we were waiting in line, and now that there's alcohol sales, it'll be even better for me, I'm sure. But no, but it's from seeing those people at UCM events, a lot of them, and UCM, like the athletic auction, is a huge way to network. And so it's been super helpful in my career and just building relationships and, because I'm not, because they have some sort of pride of being a mule and they trust me because they've seen me at all these events so many times. But yeah, that's what I do.
So a lot of people, my dad worked in insurance his whole life, and a lot of people I'm sure probably look at insurance and be like, "Ugh, really? Insurance?"
Yeah,
It's about relationships. It's about
absolutely.
helping people be successful in whatever it is they're going to do, and all that comes with good communication, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's a million different types of insurance coverage out there, and I can't tell you what you need until we have a conversation about your goals as an organization, just your overall operations. There's so much communication, and and yeah, and I think my boss Randy was absolutely right when he had me get a communications degree. Dr. Jack, whenever he was teaching our interpersonal communication, talking about personality reflection, and also Terry, him doing. I learned a lot with Terry. I think about a lot of the things they say when I'm interacting with people, trying to understand what they're really saying. Um, yeah, it's awesome.
So I think it's safe to say that you're an advocate for internships because that's how you made that connection.
Yeah,
What kind of things did you do in your internship? I know one thing people are concerned about is, man, I don't want to be the intern that has to go grab the coffee and pick up their dry
right.
cleaning and go gas up their car. First of all, by federal law, you're not allowed to have interns do that anymore unless you're a film production assistant, and that's what the job is. Like, second of all, most people who are going to bring in an intern, they do it because they want to work with young people and
Yeah,
promote what it is that they do, right?
yeah, no, absolutely. And that's exactly what my experience was like. And a lot of my friends that had internships, I felt like that was their experience too. I think it goes back to what you said about the college experience, the internship experiences, absolutely what, you get you get, I guess, you get what you want out of it. I mean, we have an internship now, and I've now been our intern champion for the last 3 years. So even senior year of college, I was doing it. But there's some interns where, they got the internship because it was a class credit and they treat it like any other class and they're just checking a box. But I promise you, those are not the people that the businesses are hiring, straight out. And then there's the other person who sees that this internship is a chance to basically, I mean, you're getting access to everything that a real employee would have. And so why not take the opportunity to kind of float above the rest? Right now, every business in Warrensburg, Johnson County, every business is having trouble with retention and recruiting, and they are wanting to make an investment on somebody. And an internship is an investment. They know that you're kind of being thrown into the ringer. You don't get to have a ton of upfront training, and they're taking a chance on you. And I've always felt like our businesses and anywhere, I mean, even in Kansas City, because we have some people that go to internships up there, that they are willing to give you their time and effort if you're willing to put in your time and effort. Um, yeah, it's a great experience. I would have had I wouldn't have gotten into insurance without the internship. I know that for a fact because insurance to me, I've never even seen an insurance policy when I took the internship, right? I was on my parents' health insurance. They paid my auto insurance. Um, and I never would have had the interest, but when you get to be in those shoes, even if it's only for 3 months at the most, 10, 6, 8, 10 weeks, even if it's only for that amount of time, um, yeah, I feel like it's the only way you would know. I mean, um, yeah, I think you should definitely do it if it's required or not. Do one every summer, switch it up, do the same one, figure out what you want to do. Because just Googling salaries like we did in high school, it doesn't tell you enough.
Yeah. Yeah, my son is doing an internship with a law firm right now, trying to decide if he wants to go to law school, and it's kind of inspiring him in that way. And we've heard lots of stories about education majors who did their student teaching, which is the education department's equivalent to an
Yeah,
internship, and they find out when they do their student teaching, this isn't for me. And I'm thinking, ooh, that's awful late in the game for you, but you do have the degree. And
yeah, that's true.
you mentioned that you came to college and you were open options. You weren't sure what direction you wanted to go, and then you got into education, and you recognized after substitute teaching, that's not really where you wanted to go. That kind of brings up the university's new slogan, redefining what's possible. So for you, you really redefined what was possible. You weren't apparently even sure what that was when you first came to college. What does that mean to you today? What does redefining what's possible mean to you today?
Redefining what is possible. I think a lot about, um, I think I've been, at least recently, kind of how that slogan would apply to me is I'm at the stage right now where um, I've been through school, and I've gone through, I mean, like you go through so much coursework, and there's a lot that I'll probably have forgotten and will never think about again. But then there's also a lot of those things I told you, like with Terry and Dr. Jack and Dr. Freeman, that I think about them all the time. And so now where I'm at the stage now where I'm in my career and I need to identify, okay, what steps do I need to take to make this sustainable for for my family, for my future, for my goals? So how can I be doing all the right things? And so one thing about so I've always felt like you say redefining what is possible about my attitude. I learned a lot about mentality and attitude and communications. We read, oh my gosh, because we're talking about it, I'm going to forget the guy's name. He's got a bust outside the
Dale
college.
Carnegie. Dale
Dale
Carnegie.
Carnegie. Yes, yes. So he talks a lot about like I wasn't a my mom has always been super outgoing. And I used to feel like I was being dragged to events. And now I'm trying to reshape, restructure everything, to seeing, okay, actually that was a blessing because now I've got to, you know, vaguely meet these people as her son. And so now I'm redefining it. I'm re trying to redefine myself and realizing that those are opportunities. Um, and taking every chance possible to build upon those relationships that were kind of started. And yeah, so looking at it as a much more of an opportunity. Another thing that, redefining what is possible. This is a um, Dr. Jack said, I can't remember exactly what he said one time, but one time he was talking about when you're it was interpersonal relationships, when you're in an argument, you can always control how you interpret what they say. And then you can't control, what they say, but you can control how you interpret what they say. And giving somebody, listening for what their intended message was and not just taking it and twisting their words. Um, and so I've been doing that a lot with how I'm confronting just situations that I've come in insurance. So something for me is I have so much pride in what I do. And when these businesses and organizations and people in Warrensburg trust me with their insurance, I feel this sort of responsibility over them. But that can be pretty stressful when you think about it like that. And so I kept thinking of ways to how can I reduce stress, make this sustainable. And then I started thinking about, well, I'm stressed out because I'm worried about what this insurance carrier might think or what this price might go up. But those are all things I can't control. And so, something that is an initiative I've really been working on this year, and it's been awesome, is controlling what I can control and basically interpreting everything in a way of, not how am I going to get rid of this stress, but how do I better navigate what's happening and be in more control. I kind of rambled on there, but it's something I've really been working on. It's been helpful in just looking at things from a different perspective that I hadn't done before, looking at things as an opportunity, not an obstacle. And that's redefined everything. Everything looks different whenever you have that kind of positive mindset, that optimistic mindset. So.
Yeah, redefining what's possible may just simply be rethinking and reshaping your attitude and how you look at things. So, and it can make a big difference in the way you deal with, a changing political climate or a changing financial climate or a change in a job or a location or whatever. So, sounds like you're making good headway there, and you're taking what you learned here at UCM. You talk about Dr. Jack, that's Jack Rogers, Terry Kinconen, guys that Dr. Freeman, Nicole Freeman, who've been here for a long time and have really helped shape a lot of young people. So we're glad you're one of them. Before I let you get out of here, I do have to ask your advice for current students and for potential students. What would you tell a current UCM student in communication? What would you tell a student who's thinking about coming to UCM?
I don't know if you agree with this, Dr. Moore, but I would say communications is like number one
Oh, I'd
on,
agree.
well, okay, number one. Yeah, we'll stop there. But no, yeah, but it is so much a situation where you truly get what you get out of it. Because you can do the bare minimum, and of course, if you accomplish everything in the syllabus, you
Yep.
might get an A, or a B, or however you do, but you may miss out on a lot of opportunities. So I'm 100% a believer, don't knock it till you try it. And that's kind of why it comes to internships. So a piece of advice I would give you is if you're on the fence about UCM or thinking about going to UCM, or you're at UCM, you're open to options, and now you're thinking about communications, we learned so early on that communications applies to, there's really not a job you could apply for and not somehow put communications into that. If we learned it wasn't interpersonal it's not commercial communication, but it was business communication.
Yeah.
Professional communication is what it was. And it was like 80% of problems start at communication. And when you look at like an insurance, when you look at why did you leave your insurance agent? Well, he wouldn't communicate well with me. I felt out of the loop.
Yeah.
Um, and I've heard my mom used to say, you know, 100 or like 90% of problems would go away if you just picked up the phone and told the truth. And so I would say, I basically tell you that to tell you that you're not going to shoot yourself in the foot by going to UCM and going into communications. That just seems like if you don't know what to do, you should start there, at least start there, because it's never going to steer you wrong. You're going to learn how communications is going to help you prepare for that job. And you're going to learn how you can, and then we even had a mock interview where you get to put that on display. You get to show people and tweak how you talk about it to let people know, like, hey, I build relationships, and yes, that's a manufacturing, but that product does not get completed unless we're effectively communicating. So I'd say opportunities are everywhere if you go into communications, and I'd go all in.
Yeah, you talk to employers, and the skills they're looking for most are being able to speak publicly, being able to write, research, critical thinking, interpersonal communication, and those are all things that we teach in our communication studies area. There's multiple classes, there's multiple opportunities to get your hands dirty and practice in those things. And Cal Taylor is a perfect example of somebody who took advantage of all of that, who got the training, and now he's just blossoming here in Warrensburg. And Cal, we're so proud of you. We're so proud to have you as part of our community. Thank you for being on the show today, and keep doing the great work.
Well, hey, thank you very much. Anytime.
And thanks all of you for tuning in today. Remember, you can catch every episode on our YouTube channel through the UCM Media Network. That's youtube.com/UCMMN. You can also listen on Spotify. Special thanks to Jake Mager for creating our theme music for us. Again, this is Dr. Joe Moore reminding you, you can get there from here. Have a great day.